Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a 888-piece limited edition that came out in 2019. This example was sold in 2021. 41 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. This is the Carl F. Bucherer Heritage BiCompax annual calendar. It is all of those things. 41 millimeters in diameter. It's 14.5 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 50.3 millimeters, and it has a nice broad and modern 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it's surprisingly broad for a 41. I would recommend this for a wrist no smaller than 15 centimeters circumference. It's a good match. It'll fit underneath jacket cuffs, just maybe not the tightest of dress sleeves. The watch is handsome and traditional, though you can see with that broad lug spacing and the sheer size of the case, it doesn't look overly vintage. It's more of a nod and a wink rather than overt retro styling. Taking a quick look at the strap, this is a little bit more overt, as it's the perforated and textured ridged design, often known as the Tropic, from the 1960s. These Tropic straps are more commonly seen on sports watches from the era, but this watch is a sporty watch, so perhaps it's not out of place. As you can see, there's a texturing, a sort of cross-hatching along the center, a basket weave motif, if you will. There's a ridged serration along the edge, and then we have these diamond punch-outs that are echoed by hollows on the underside that thin out the strap and allow it to wear with greater souplesse and flexibility, as well as to vent better on a hot day. So taking a quick look at the clasp, you can see you get a good value with Carl F. Bucherer. They give you a full deployment clasp in spite of the roughly $7,200 original retail price. It's a double deployment. It has trigger release, so you have to press the triggers to open it, which is a nice refinement that adds to security. You can see there are ceramic pin snaps inside designed to ensure that the tolerances are never worn down. The steel cannot wear down the ceramic, so this will remain crisp over time. There's a little bit of a teardrop profile to the edge of the buckle, which echoes the teardrop profile of the lugs. I always like that kind of consistency of design. And you can see the buckle has a combination of polish and satination with the Carl F. Bucherer logo. Bucherer, out of Lucerne, is the largest watch vendor in Europe. Despite the name being as old as it is, the Carl F. Bucherer brand was revived in 2001 and relaunched. So most Bucherer branded watches you see today are from the modern iteration of the Carl F. Bucherer brand. There are older Bucherer watches. Just remember, though the vendor is old, this model line is part of a relatively young and progressive brand, and value has been one of their hallmarks. You can see the case is nicely made with polished bevels, a bezel that is stepped. You can see it as a vertical and then a domed segment, and the bezel actually cuts down below the hoods of the lugs. So you can see how the lugs ride up along the side of the bezel, and then there's this dip from lug tip to lug tip that allows the lugs to be large, flowing, and sculptural with a broad profile and an impressive presence. If the bezel sat on top of the lugs, you'd have to crop the lugs to keep the watch at this thickness, or if the bezel were to sit on top and the lugs were to be kept at their current height, the watch would be really, really thick. So this is a nice design solution to that. We have the Bucherer logo on the crown. We have these rectangular vintage-inspired chronograph pushers, and then we have a dramatically domed and boxed sapphire designed to evoke a 1960s plexiglass. The dial is a silver sunburst with polished syringe-style hands. We have azurage or concentric patterns for the sub-registers, which are printed white on black, and then, of course, we have a little bit of a countersink to those sub-registers. We have traditional Arabic numerals vertically arrayed on the dial, again, the silver and the black, making for a cool Panda aesthetic. Outboard, we have a tachymeter that can be used with the chronograph to gauge the speed of, for example, a car over a kilometer. And we'll do a quick loom shot here. As you can see, indices as well as hands. And then we have handsome white on black printed discs for the annual calendar. This is a familiar module from Dubois de Praz. We've seen versions of this on everything from Maurice Lacroix to Richard Mille. Look at an RM11 and tell me that you don't recognize that double date with month. And that's exactly where all of these modules come from. So the watch is an annual calendar. It only needs to be reset once a year during the jump from February to March. Otherwise, it can handle the irregular length months. Now the watch is based on an ETA core, which means it retains some of the underlying features of the ETA movement, including a hacking seconds function, and then for the double-digit date, there is a quick set. Flip the watch over, you can see on the reverse side, it's a limited edition. This one is 508 of 888. We have a skeletonized Bucherer logo acting as the rotor. The watch is 30 meters water resistant. The movement that we have here from ETA is known as Carl F. Bucherer 1972. What it is the Dubois de Praz annual calendar module on top of an ETA 2892A2 base. It's bidirectional automatic winding. It has a 42-hour power reserve, pivots on 47 joules. It beats way at 8 beats per second. And again, it has those extra features added, the double date and the annual calendar, courtesy of the DD module. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.